Hello everyone, welcome back to a new type of tutorial series. Now in this tutorial series, we are going to be taking C++ from the ground up. We are going to be learning this particular language as a total beginner to see how the programming language actually works. People tend to ask, why would I learn programming in big 2025 when we have AI, artificial intelligence and all that on the line? Now listen, AI has come to stay and it is here to actually make things simple. But as an aspiring software engineer or computer scientist, I would highly recommend this language. Because this particular language has the ability to communicate to system resources. This particular language is used in embedded systems, it's used in making game development, it's used in making operating system software, it can be used in making a whole lot, and it's still profitable to learn it in 2025. Maybe we'll get to know more and more reasons why we need to learn programming in 2025. So I'll highly recommend that if you are trying to learn programming for the first time and you want to get into these particular fields of engineering, bro, take C++ as your first startup, because there are some particular critical applications that Java cannot do, Python cannot also do, and we'll get to know that as we keep learning. Now to begin everything, we need to know the general overview of C++. So C++, designed by Björn Strostrup in 1979 as Bell Labs. Now this language was initially called C. It was later extended to become C++. So we can literally say C++ is an extended or an advanced version of C. And why are we learning this language? So usually we have something we refer to it, or we usually add to it, as object-oriented programming. So object-oriented programming is basically programming that deals with classes, attributes, and a whole lot. So usually a popular example is a car. If you take a car, for instance, the model of a car is attributed to it. We have the color of a car, we have the brakes, we have the accelerator, we have all these things that are attributed to a car. Now, when we come to the programming environment, there are some different things. I mean, we are basically going to implement similar things, but as we get practical with it, I think you understand how the entire thing works. So we'll get to that in some minutes to come. Now, these videos are going to be in a playlist which will be displayed here on this channel. After the entire series, we are going to be making everything one video which will be placed on the channel for you to access it. So stay tuned, because this is going to be a long journey, and I'm hoping that we're actually able to make things much simpler to understand and easygoing for everyone who is watching me on this channel. Let's continue. Okay, so to start everything up, what we need a very good working laptop, and we need an IDE. So with the IDEs, it's up to you to make your decision. But if you're a total beginner, you don't know what to use, I highly recommend Code Blocks because it's simple to do. Once you install it, I mean, you are good to go. Unlike Visual Studio Code, you have to get your extensions and plugins, and sometimes it's very stressful, and I mean, it's so annoying, and you end up running the code and you don't know where it is, and you have to go and search. Now, to get over all this kind of stress, I would just say, bro, use Code Blocks and be free. But if you want to proceed with Visual Studio because you know how to work with the extensions and all that, then I'm totally fine. We also have C Lion, but well, for this video, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code and Code Blocks interchangeably. Now, usually I like Code Blocks because of how it's able to easily debug and run our programs, simple for us to easily see the output of it. But I mean, Visual Studio on the other side sometimes makes it a little difficult. I mean, time consuming and a whole lot. I'm not here to explain that. It all depends on the machine you have. Okay, so to not waste time, let's get straight into the machine and see how the entire programming language works. So we'll take the general overview of the C++ program, a basic C++ program, for today's video. But before we do that, let me show you how to install your IDE so that we start this entire series. So let's do this. Okay, so we are now on our desktop computer, and what I'm here to basically show you is the procedure. So we just search Code Blocks. Sorry, you can just go straight to the download section which you have here. Okay, you can also access it from here. Yeah, so we are already on the download section. Then you move down here and you search for binary release, and you close this. Then we have the Windows version over here for download. We have the Linux, we have the Mac OS. So you can, if you want to go through this, well, it's up to you. We also have the Windows 64 bits and the Windows 32 bits setups here. We have the Linux and the Mac. Please know your operating system, which one is configured. If it's a 64-bit or a 32-bit machine, you can do that. You can check it anywhere. If you don't know how to do that, you can do that online. You can search up how to do it. I think there's a video on my channel on it, but in case you can't find it, I'll link it down. If I don't link it down, then kindly look for it. Yeah, then I'm sure it will take you to how to really know if your machine is a 32 or 64 bits. So I'm using Windows 64 bits. So I'll just go for the most latest setup, and it says your download will start shortly over here. So after that, you see it pop up. Okay, so we search where we want to install it to just do it here. Okay, so with the installation, I'll leave it in your hands. I'm hoping you are actually able to go through the installation process. I mean, you just need to click on it and run through the installation. I probably know most of you can do that. So if anything, it should be so easy. It's a simple procedure. You just go through. And if there's any part of the installation that requires you to install or add any kind of extension, don't forget to include the .cpp extension, because that is the extension for C++, and we are going to be working with it in our programming environment. So kindly note that. So without wasting much time, we'll get into the IDE aspect of things. So taking this off, we have Visual Studio Code over here, and we have the code blocks over here. As I said, I'll be working with these two IDs so that at least you can address both users on our platform. And kindly note, it's the same thing I'll be doing on both IDs. I'm just going to be doing the same thing, but just that they are going to be done on different platforms. So kindly make sure you don't get confused over here. I just want to make it more interactive and more versatile and easy for everyone to easily grab the concept. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So once you have your code blocks installed, this is what you see first. And I usually don't like coding in a quite themed environment. You can adjust everything in the settings, but it still doesn't match my criteria and all that. So I'll basically stick to Visual Studio when it comes to the coding aspect of things. So there are two different ways to create a new folder or a new file with C++. You can do it from the IDE or from your Windows Explorer or File Explorer. But I'm going to show you how to do it from the IDE, since we are going to be using it more often. So once we open our Visual Studio Code, for instance, we go to the file over here, we move up to open folder, then we locate where we have saved our folder to. I have it here at desktop, tutorials, then we select folder. So now any work that we are going to be performing here will be saved straight to that folder, and it's going to make things simple over here. So with Visual Studio, you just head up to new file, then you create, okay, so I'll name it tutorial1.cpp. Yes. Then when the pop-up comes, you just save it and make sure you add the .cpp to it. I've already saved that, so yeah. Once you see the logo pop up with it over here, I hope you can see it. I'm actually running this. Yeah, you can see that. So once you see the logo of C++ over here, then you know that you're actually going to work with C++. Now, to get a little more practical here, let's begin with the basic structure of C++. So I'm going to type it down, and after typing it down, I explain from head to down, so at least you know what you are going to be working on as the days come by. So this is the basic structure of the C++ program I'm going to be working with. Now, the first line you see here, which is our line 1, is the header file you can see here. And we are including IOStream. Now, IOStream is the input and output stream, which is a library in our C++ environment, which will be using to output and input, commands or instructions into our code. Now we have the using namespace std. Std is also a library which is going to help us with our C out and our C in. We'll get to know how all these things interact together to make it work. We also have our main file, the int main. Now this particular part of the code is like the heart of what we are come to do. It's where every instruction goes. Every execution or every part of our instructions are going to be put in this main int main function. Then we have our return statement to return a number once the program is successfully executed. And we don't forget these things as well. The curly brackets. It's very important that we make use of them, because it's very important. Once you miss just this one, you are going to be getting errors in your code, and we don't want that. So one thing too that we work with C++. Now, I didn't speak about this because these are comments. Now, you may ask me what are comments. You see, as a very good software engineer or a software developer, I mean, comments are very good in your code so that one day if you hand over your work to someone else and the person wants to easily look through your work, they can see the comments and know that, oh, so this part of the code talks about this, talks about that. Comments don't run with the code. Just note that in mind. Comments don't execute with the actual code. They are just there to help you know what each part of the code is meant for. You can decide to comment, you can decide to leave it. But as a good engineer, make sure your commenting are always needed or included into your project work or anything that you do with respect to your programming environment. So this is how we comment in C++ by bringing the two forward slash there so that we make the whole thing. Once we take it off, that means we assume what you are doing is part of the code and it might execute because we have, as you can see, there's a keyword here which is being highlighted by the language, and once it's executing and it detects this, it might not be able to proceed because it will think, bro, there's something that's hard to code, then you're not actually stating it. So commenting doesn't really in fact, it doesn't affect your code at all. It's all about you, the developer. It's always going to show in the back end, but not at the front end. You understand? So let's go to code blocks and see what we have going on here. So if I come to code blocks like this, for instance, we have this over here. So if I open it, it's going to load whatever I'm doing on Visual Studio Code. Everything is I'm just running it real time. So whatever I do on Visual Studio, so for instance, let's go to Visual Studio. Let me show you something. I'm not saying you should do the same thing, but I'm just trying to illustrate why I'm interchanging both IDs or how I'm doing it to make you understand. So let's come to Visual Studio and do something quick. So let's say I want to output hello world. Okay, let's do something else. Everyone seems to use hello world. So let's use something else. So if you want to output anything to your terminal in in C++, we use the cout. So cout is something we'll be using more often. In subsequent videos, I'll explain how everything works in this particular code. But this is the basic structure, so you have to at least know all these things in mind. So cout means outputting to the console. So you add your symbols over here. These symbols are very necessary, and as well as your double quotes, which will output whatever we have in the double quotes to your output. So with a double quote, you can put anything there. So let's put something there. Do it like this. Yeah, I was about to put something we call end line, meaning whatever I put next will continue at the second line. But all these things I will be explaining in our second video. This video is just the basic introduction. So don't forget your semicolon. Once you leave the semicolon out, you get an error when you are trying to run your program, because the semicolons they are one of the most important aspects of your entire C++ code. With just one missing, you can literally mess up your entire code. Let's go to code blocks. Let's go back to code blocks. Okay, unfortunately, you can't see what I'm seeing. There's no error here, but it's telling me there has been some changes made to it. So once I click on yes, it just updates it right here. I'm trying to find a way to screen record and not, work. There are some problems I'm facing in the back end. So I think in the next video, I'll try and work on it so that I'm able to show whatever is going on behind the scenes instead of doing the switching, and it's kind of making things difficult for me here. I didn't plan that, so I'm very sorry for that. Yeah. So now we are on code blocks. So whatever we have here is here. So in code blocks, there's something I'll need to tell you because it's very important and you'll be using it very well. Now this is the build. Now the building is going to build your entire code and make it an executable file. And the run button is what is going to run your entire code for it to actually work and show you your output. So if you have not built your program, you can't run it. You have to build before you run. You can also use the build and run when you want to see the output there and then after building. So first of all, let's see how the building works. So we are done building. Then now this is the run. So let's run our code and see what we have. So I think it will take some few seconds for it to display. I'm having antivirus software, so sometimes it has to tell that one there's something coming in, or there's a traffic coming in, when it's able to pick it up before it tells me. So it sometimes makes my execution time slow because of the antivirus and all that. But okay, so for some reason I'm unable to add my entire display to OBS. I'm actually trying to use OBS for this entire I mean back and forth, and it somehow, I mean, I don't know, I've used it before, but I was kind of confused. So with this particular part of the code, I'm going to be doing it without my face showing, so that I'm able to capture everything to explain how the entire thing works before we go back to our system. So we have actually built the code now, and now the code is being built. If we use the run feature, you can now see it displayed. So there's something I was explaining. Because I'm using an antivirus software, it has to, I mean, delay, and so if it delays, then it's because it has to pass through my antivirus to give me final feedback and then go ahead. So that's our code executed there. Hey there. The first one I did was 18 seconds. That unfortunately I can't show that one. I couldn't show that one because I was trying to add the screen and I delayed in doing that. And it's all because of my antivirus. So sometimes if you have antivirus software, they are going to be interacting and, I mean, slowing down your entire execution process. So note that, especially if you have something like Avast and some other antivirus software, that will probably do similar things. Okay, so friends, there's a lot to learn, like so much to learn. This programming language is actually a very exciting one. I'm very pumped for it, but there's so much I have to work on in the back end when it comes to screen recording and, I mean, showing my face and all this. I mean, I've not really been doing this for a while now, so I'm trying to get back to my feet on this. In the upcoming episodes, we're going to be getting more and more practical and more advanced to do or perform operations like this, as you can see on your screen. And it's going to be a fun one. We're actually going to do it together. Maybe not exactly this, but we are going to be performing similar projects like this. Simple ones that, I mean, is used in our everyday life that both of us, I mean, me and you basically see. Like maybe transaction process of sending money from your phone to another carrier. All these things, we'll try them out. Yeah. And if anything at all, kindly let me know anything at all that baffles your mind in the comment section below, so that in the next video I'm able to improve upon it or make it better for us all to engage and make things much more simple and understandable. But now, once again, this is on the beginner's view of things. So we are going to be taking this slowly. And so once again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.